Welcome to this thing called life.
And what's up, everybody? This is Dave, joined here with my other co-host, Michael Kelly. Mike, say hello.
What is up? It's MRK, Michael Ryan Kelly. What's up, everybody?
That's so dumb.
Light out.
Anyways, how's it going, man? Another week gone by.
It's good, man. On my second beer.
Oh, all right. I'm not on my second at all. But I wish I was on your level. Nah,
They say don't podcast and drink or something like that. Or don't drink and podcast.
Oh. Is that a
I
bumper
disagree
sticker?
with that.
Don't drink and podcast. So, I heard a little birdie tell me that you have a little joke.
I do because we're dads, bro. And to be honest, we're dads. You and I are both dads. We,
Yeah.
this is what we do. We do dad jokes.
Yep.
We do dad things.
We do dad things, yes.
So this is my joke for you guys. We're gonna start. We're gonna try this out for a while. Do a dad joke in the beginning just to lighten the mood.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, Dave. What do you call a fake noodle?
I don't know.
An impasta. Worst joke ever.
An impasta. No, that was good. I think that was better than mine from last week. But
Well, they're all horrible. Just different levels.
But that's why we're doing it, because it's funny. It's so stupid. It's funny.
Did you ever have like a friend and his dad would always come up to you every time you guys would be hanging out and he'd be like, let me tell you guys a joke. And he'd give you like the worst dad joke ever.
No.
And then embarrasses the shit out of his son.
No. Have you?
Yes, I'm not going to name names, but back in the day I had one or two of them.
That's awesome. No, I mean, my dad had some jokes. He had some like pretty crazy jokes. Like, I mean, I have a pretty bad joke, but I piss off a lot of people probably if I said it, so I'm not gonna.
Let's just save it for another time. Let's warm up our listeners a little bit.
Yes. So what do we got on the menu today?
We have a delicious menu.
I'm listening.
Oh, yeah. Well, we usually try to do 3 topics. So today's topics will be, I'm going blank right now. Well, we're going to talk about VR technology for sure.
Seems to be
talk
a
about
big
CBD
thing.
oil.
That's a big thing too.
But you know what I was thinking? I actually have been listening to a lot of music lately, being in the barbershop, working with the youngsters like I am. I've been listening to a lot of the young music, and some of it is really good.
Sure.
But as you know, as we're getting older, we're in our 30s now. Some of it I feel is total shit.
Me too.
And I don't want to sound like that old guy who's like, back in my day, our musicians played real instruments and we sang without auto-tune and we blah, 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 blah. I don't like that. I don't like that mentality, I want to be open-minded.
Yes, of course. And we have to be open-minded on here.
Yeah, I mean, I am, but there's some people like Bad Bunny, and it's like it sounds like there's something stuck in his mouth, and he can't close his mouth and pronounce his actual words. And I mean, I don't speak Spanish that well, but it just sounds like there's something caught in his mouth, and he can't close it. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love reggaeton, and after a couple of drinks, reggaeton sounds amazing. But Bad Bunny, I just don't know why he's famous, bro.
So
I don't get it. I know he makes his own beats. I think that's what it is. He makes his own music, so that's like, he's like the Drake of reggaeton, maybe.
That's like somewhat of an achievement when you're a musician or an artist. Like, I feel like there's people out there that don't make their own beats, don't make their own lyrics. And then you got somebody else. I get it. I understand there's people that do this for a living. There's people that get paid to do this to provide for their family, to write lyrics for other artists and whatnot. But, dude, I feel like if you're an artist or a musician, you have to write your own lyrics. You have to be involved in that. And there's a lot of people that aren't nowadays. And that sucks. That sucks coming from a musician's, like, point of view. You know what I mean? Like, where's the talent? Okay, you could go on there and say, Kiki, do you love me? Like, stupid. And it's just like, that's that's great and all, but dude, like, put some effort into it. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I feel like there's less effort in the lyrics as there is now. I mean, don't get me wrong, the production now is probably better than it's ever been as far as sound quality and
Of
like,
course, and the technology that they have.
yeah, it's
But
incredible. I listen to music now and I'm like, yo, we could have never even created that when I was listening to like music in the 90s. Like even the hip hop we used to listen to in the 90s, it's so different. It's just
oh yeah,
incredibly different.
oh yeah, the times have changed.
Yeah. So
But
what do you think the major difference is in music? I mean, that's the thing. Like what you and I growing up, what was the difference between our music and the music we're starting to hear more today?
hmm, hmm, hmm.
Like what's the heart? The heart is different. Like, have you seen the movie Mid '90s? Have you seen that movie yet?
I have not seen it yet.
It's
It's
really
produced
good, bro.
by Jonah Hill, right?
Yeah, and he nailed it, right? He nailed it. But like the whole time era of the '90s, even in the early 2000s, there was this sense of that you had to be tough or you had to be like a rebel. You had to have some kind of
Hmm.
attitude towards the man. Like we all had, even punk rockers in the '90s and early 2000s had this attitude, like middle finger in the air, kind of suck it. And this is the way we're going to play music. This is the way we're going to live our life. But here in today's music is just it's like they're, I don't want to say soft, because maybe they're too in touch with themselves more now than we were back then. We weren't as in touch with ourselves as we were. We
Mm-hmm.
were just feeling a lot. We are feeling a lot of anger, feeling a bitterness towards communities and organizations. In today's music, I feel like they just don't have that same aggressiveness
Mm.
as we did. Maybe does that sound about right? I don't know. What do you
Oh,
think?
no, totally. That does sound about right. Like you were saying, back in the late '90s, early 2000s, when it came to stuff like there was, there was obviously, if you want to go back further, the '80s, but and then like some in the '90s, yes, but like in the early '90s, late '80s, you had the bands like Nirvana, right? You had the bands like Nirvana, you had the bands like Guns N' Roses, you had all those hair metal type, that's what they called them, hair metal type bands back then, and you had that genre. But I feel like in the late '90s, early 2000s, like you mentioned the punk rock thing, but punk rock was alive back in the late '80s as well. But I want to go another step further and call it the emo phase of it. You know what I mean? You had those
Yeah,
bands like Good Charlotte. You had those bands like Simple Plan where the guys are wearing, all black clothes, studded, whatever, the gothic punk, emo look that it was. And, their lyrics always back then, like Good Charlotte's, was always, like you mentioned, a type of rebel thing. And maybe that also goes with Green Day, but Green Day wasn't that style of music, obviously, like, Good Charlotte and stuff. But, uh,
they still had
yeah,
that attitude of like
but they still had that attitude. Yeah.
emotion and
Yeah. Totally.
even
Com-
some of the alternative stuff. I mean, if you look at all of it, I draw parallels in music so much because I appreciate all kinds of music. So I put it in one general group because in the '90s and early 2000s we were kind of awakening to the bullshit that we were raised with, the traditions of religion and the traditions of the government and the rules, and some of the shit we were going through in the '90s was just like in just like we're asking why a lot. We're like, why are we dealing with certain things, and why do we have to believe a certain way, and why can't I do something? Why can't I have tattoos? Why can't I have my own hair? Why do I have to go to work with a fucking suit and tie on? And now we have this next generation coming up, and like us, we kind of live life how we want. We get tattoos, we have piercings, we do what we want, and we come from a background of kind of breaking through an emotional barrier and going, you know what, fuck the man. We can do this. We can be who we want to be. And sometimes we did things out of pure rebellion. We played music out of pure rebellion. We dressed out of pure rebellion. Dyed our hair black, and
mhm.
some of us wore makeup and fucking crazy shit. And we did it because we were like,
Painted their
we want you
fingernails.
to look at us and be like, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with us is you. You're what's wrong with us. You're the ones who told us we could only live in a box, and none of us wanted to live in a box. And I
Right.
think that's the craziest part about this generation is that they're all living in a box. To me, it seems like that. Like
Yeah.
most of them minus the crazy ones that everyone thinks is crazy, like Kanye. And there's certain artists are literally out of the box, like so far out of the box that we think they're crazy. But back in the day, if you look at all of us growing up, all our favorite bands and groups, they were crazy, bro. I mean, look at Coolio's hair, bro. Look at Coolio's hair, and look at the U's and how they dressed. Look at
Cisco's hair.
Cisco. I mean, we were fucking crazy. You know what I mean? No one looked like anyone back then, and that's what I miss. Is like everyone was unique. No one was trying to look like anybody. And now everyone's trying to look like everybody. Tattoos on the face in the same places, and all this. And I just miss the independence, the uniqueness of music and musicians and artists and groups back then were so different. And I just miss that, man. I miss that so much because that's art I think we're going to pretty much lose here in the next couple of years. I think it's going to be officially done.
Well,
I don't know, man. I'm passionate about that because I believe I'm an artist in some ways with my work. So I hate when I get lumped in with the rest of the barbers that I'm in my community with, because I don't think that I act or think they're the same way they do. I don't process things the same way. I may have work that's similar to other people's, but if you were to really take the time to my work, I'm a different animal than everyone else. And I'm doing that on purpose because I do want to be myself fully and be authentic. And as you and I talked earlier, and I think it was episode 1, mission here is to be authentic and be real. And that's all I want to be. So if it comes across as negativity, I apologize. But the reality is that I just like to analyze things and call them for what they are, or what I think they may be at this time. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know anything, but I mean, it's good to talk about it, I feel like.
Yeah. And like, speaking of, like you said, artists that are so far out of the box and completely doing their own thing, or telling you how it is, like you mentioned Kanye. To me, there's also Cardi B, because she's just tells everyone how it is, doesn't give a shit what anybody thinks about her.
She's very authentic, bro.
Exactly. And it's good for her. Absolutely. It's great. There's not many people out there like that. Obviously, Eminem was like that as well. He told it how it was and didn't give a shit what anybody thought about him, But like the music nowadays, there's some music I just can't get down with.
Name some names. Put yourself out there, bro.
I can name some genres, I'll tell you that. Like that mumble rap. I don't like. My helper, who was with me this year out there on the truck, who was my seasonal helper, was telling me about this mumble rap, and I was like, what the hell is that? And it's that, but like that kind of shit. And it's just like, dude, it just drives, just like, well, what? Dude, drove.
I know.
I was like, what are we listening to, bro?
1, 2, 3, A, B, C.
Right.
I know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just.
But you know what? After a couple beers and shots, that shit sounds really good. Though.
Oh, I'm sure. I have yet to listen to that after a couple.
You've got to get inebriated to appreciate it.
But there's like, it's hard because like my genre growing up was the rock. It was the rock, and it was even got into screamo eventually, the punk rock. Like MXPX was obviously the punk rock side of me. Then you had the rock side, like POD or
Skillet.
Yeah, I actually really never listened to Skillet, surprisingly.
I loved Skillet. I was raised Christian, so that was like the most rebellious liberal rock we could listen to back in the day. So I jumped on Skillet ASAP.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was more like Emery at the time.
Emery's top 5 for me.
Under Oath at the time,
yes.
The Devil Wears Prada, if you want to go more screamo. That was, and I mean, a lot of those bands are still around actually today. And
they're still around, and now other bands sound just like them. It's crazy that they were so unique for their time, and now if you were to dive into that genre, everyone sounds just like them.
Right. So I mean, that was my genre growing up. That was my cup of tea, if you will.
Oh yeah, I remember, Dave. We played together. I remember we had our own band for a while. Right. We tried to do that thing.
That's right. We tried to do that thing.
It was a good time though. I loved those moments.
Yeah, and I was into black and pink striped shirts with a pink tie and like painted black nails, and I didn't give a shit what anybody thought about me, like you just mentioned a few minutes ago. That was it. But we all grow up.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we all grow up and then we adjust a little bit because we realize we have to because we have to make money for our families.
Yeah.
But the reality is, at the end of the day, deep down inside, you're still that little punk rocker emo kid.
Oh yeah, totally.
You are.
And like now, dude, now like my cup of tea has expanded, way out. And I mean, dude, I listen to everything but opera now. You know what I mean? Like that's it. The opera I don't get down with, but country music, bro. I love myself some good country music. My favorite band right now has to be. I'm sure I'm gonna get judged so hard on this. My favorite band right now has to be 21 Pilots.
They're very talented and
Oh,
diverse. I
dude,
understand why you like them.
so talented and so diverse, especially coming from like the musician aspect of it again, which we're talking about here again. The musician aspect of it is so much respect for those dudes. It's just two dudes, and they make their own music. They write their own lyrics. Like Tyler Joseph, the lead singer, and Josh Dunn, the drummer. They just do it all together, and it's just like the stuff they create is just so amazing. And he's multi-talented. He plays the ukulele, the bass, the guitar, the piano. You know what I mean? Like he does it
I believe those
all.
guys both have degrees in music as well. Like they're nerds, man.
Oh yeah, I know they're nerds for sure.
But
But
those make the
I'm
best.
not
Those
sure
make
about
the
the
most
degree
best,
thing, but
most interesting
interesting.
dynamic musicians. Is the ones that are like very, very trained.
Hmm.
But then also we're like, let's create our own genre. Let's create our own thing. Those are the best.
Yeah, and the thing I really like about them too is their lyrics. Their lyrics tend to touch a lot on like suicidal and the suicide side of things, and the real topics that people have issues with that don't get help. And their music is there as a light and to be in like such a dark place for like some of these people, and that's what I really like about them.
You see, that's also the thing about our genre too. Is that back when, well, our time era, I should say, is back when you and I were listening to music when we were teenagers. The music really had a deeper message than just having a good time.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that doesn't exist today, but it's less percentage of
It's
that today.
less, totally. I
So
I
I mean, you have
agree.
J. Cole out there speaking the truth. J. Cole is legit, and he's one of those hip hop artists who people who are diehard fans of them have a very similar mentality that you and I have. Like they don't want to listen to music just because it sounds good, but they also want to listen to music that is going to add to their life, like and make them think and question things
Hmm.
and wonder. And I think that's the major key that I look for in music, no matter what generation or time. I always try to find the substance that is the heart behind the music instead of just some blatant, this sounds good, let's just vibe with this. I mean, there's a time for that, there's a time for that. But for the most part, I like to be mentally activated when I listen to music. I don't want to zone out. I want to zone in.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you there.
But
It's
bro, but bro, there's also another difference here is that you and I are musicians and most people are not musicians. So when they listen to music, they literally are only feeling the beat and like the rhythm of the words. They're not listening to the actual word content or the
Mhm.
timing structure of the drum on the bass or how the guitar is accenting what other instrument is doing.
Mhm.
They're not listening to that stuff. You and I are
Yeah, we
because
hear
we're
the stuff that
nerds.
goes on
We know
beyond
music.
behind
But
behind the
it's
music.
like watching a yeah, it's like watching a DC movie. If you're watching a DC movie, you're probably watching it for the graphics and like it's cool and it's fun.
Like
But if you're like
Aquaman.
a comic nerd, you're watching Marvel. I'm sorry, it's true. I'm calling it like it is.
It's true.
If you're watching Marvel, you're watching it because you know comic
Oh
books and
yeah.
you're like excited.
Oh yeah. That's true.
I won't dive off in the comics. That's another day too.
Oh yeah, totally. That'll come up in a
But
future
anyway,
episode.
we should move on. I think we killed that topic. I think we murdered that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. That was good. So what do we got next? We got some VR talk.
You want to talk VR?
Oh yeah,
We
it
can do that.
seems
All
to be
right.
very popular right now during this day and age. And what do they got? The Oculus, I believe it's called, for the computer, and then they got the PlayStation. The PlayStation Sony has their own VR for the PlayStation 4, the PS4. Uh, and just the thought about this is it's very intriguing
When I say VR,
with
what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
VR troopers.
VR troopers.
Remember that show? It was kind of like a knockoff of the Power Rangers, but there was only like 3 dudes.
Nah, man,
Excuse me, it was
I
two
do not
males
remember
and
that.
one female. I'm sorry.
All right, so when you say VR technology, you know what comes to my mind?
What's
Maybe
that?
because I'm perverted, I don't know.
Oh boy, here we go.
Automatically, I'm thinking like VR porn because I'm thinking money. Like, obviously, people are going to pay a lot of money for a VR experience.
Oh well, yeah. And the crazy thing is that can totally happen if it hasn't already,
Oh,
which
I'm
is
sure it
just
exists already, but there's this movie with Sylvester Stallone. I think it's called Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes, I believe. And it was set in the future. And this dude sat down in a room. I think Sandra Bullock was in it as well. And she says to him, "Hey, do you want to have sex?" And he wakes up from like being cryogenically frozen, so he has no idea. He thinks she means literally have sex, right?
hmm.
So he's sitting there like, "Oh, sex? I guess. Like you're attractive, I guess so." And she's like, "Okay." And she comes out of the room with goggles. He puts a set of goggles on.
What?
She puts goggles on, and it goes into VR mode, right? So they have VR sex. They're not actually touching each other. It's just a program that makes them feel like they are. And I was like,
That's
we are
scary though.
not far
Like
from that.
no, like exactly. Like that's the scary part about it. And then
Now, is that cheating?
mentally, emotionally, yeah, right? Like
I think it
yeah,
is. I
exactly.
think it's a form of.
Exactly. It's a form of.
I
Exactly.
mean, porn is cheating in general. So, well, I think it's cheating in general. I don't want to say like it's like you're doomed to fail if you watch porn or like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying is everything starts in the mind, right? So you got to be protective of that area,
Yeah.
your mind, and your mind controls the rest of your body. So, I mean, VR, I think is going to be great for other things. I mean, but then again, VR might be great for sex too, because think about it. What if you're handicapped, but you
Hmm.
love your wife still?
Right.
Now you just brought the relationship a little closer, into more intimacy through VR,
Hmm.
which brings me to my next point. If you follow my drift, is medical reasons, right?
Ah, yeah.
Now VR can actually treat medical problems. If you jump into VR, you can see a doctor, virtual reality doctor. He could
Hmm.
virtually tell you what's wrong with your body and your mechanics, the way you throw a ball, the way you jump.
Right.
If you're an athlete, now you don't need to be literally be next to a doctor to get a quick diagnosis.
Right. Because now we're talking about a world in VR. A world that would be in virtual reality. Kind of like how you mentioned the other movie. I'm going to mention the most recent movie, I guess, is the movie Ready Player One. There was a whole world that they literally jumped in. And like you said, totally not far from that. We are totally not far from that. And that's like that's the crazy part is like if that becomes that realistic, if VR becomes that realistic and you can have a whole world where people have their own avatars and you said handicap people, I can't imagine how intrigued handicap people would be for that because then they can get up, they can run, they can do all that, in the VR world and they would want to live that life again. Totally. And it's scary to think though about how that could take over someone's life.
Well, think about it like this, bro. I mean, some people say social media is real now because our perception has become what you see on social media is real. If you're having a good time on Instagram, then the videos and pictures you post are cool looking, then you're probably doing some cool shit in real life and you're probably a real happy person.
Right.
Well, in VR, you don't have legs, but you now have an avatar that has legs and you're one of the most athletic VR avatars there is. Now everyone thinks that this is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Perception and the way we think of ourselves is somewhat of a reality in a way because we can let it affect us in a positive way or a negative way. But it's crazy because I think there's two angles to VR. Is that yes, you can use VR for your actual physical medical problems. Like imagine measuring your body, getting a doctor to find out what's wrong with your body, and then getting a diagnosis. And then there's the I'm an avatar. This isn't my actual body. This is the body I want you to think I have.
Mm-hmm.
There's two sides to that. I think one's really beneficial for human beings. The other one's gonna be a little scary,
Yeah.
but also good because now we're going to be able to keep the world moving at a faster pace. We can have actual meetings with people across the world and see each other face to face and understand each other's body language through VR. And,
Right.
so the world's going to become very small. If it's not already small, it's going to get even smaller.
Right. Right. Instead of like the Skype or like the Zoom like we're using currently, it's to actually have that feeling like you're there in a conference room with a whole bunch of other people, but really you're just sitting at home on your couch. You
What's the
know?
thing about that that scares you the most?
Yeah, is how realistic it could get.
Yeah, but
Like
specifically, of course, it can be realistic. I mean, but what is it about that that makes you scared?
is the feeling of getting, or I guess the chance of getting lost in it, where people are just going to want to live in it 100% of the time, 24/7, live in this virtual world because you can fulfill every fantasy you have. You can do all this stuff probably that you couldn't do in the real world, and it would totally take over people's lives. And that's the scary part about it, I think. And how it could hurt that person in the real world, though, even though they're living in the VR world. Imagine they stop that one time after being in there for like months. They stop that one time. What what would happen to their body then? Their social interaction with people outside, of the VR world. Like it's crazy,
So,
dude. Like it's crazy.
so check this out. Like, I've been watching a lot of Black Mirror on Netflix, and they have some really cool, crazy, progressive ideas.
What is
But
Black
then,
Mirror
what if
about, if you don't mind?
they do? It's like the Twilight Zone for the future.
Is it like a Netflix series or is it like a?
Yes,
Okay,
Netflix
gotcha.
series. You have to watch it. It's
Okay.
incredible. Anyway, so I started thinking the other day, what if we create our VR avatars, right? And we download our avatar the way we want them. And we sit in our living room and we play with our VR every day, all day. We're addicted to it. We become dependent on it, right? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we eat minimal food at times to stay alive, to have sustenance,
Mm-hmm.
but everything else is avatar, 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 VR. So we're in avatars, we're doing our VR thing, and the computer that runs the VR starts calculating our decisions for us. The AI starts realizing this is what he'll do most of the time. This is what he's going to want to do. We can start predicting his behavior and his personality. Psychology is so well developed now that you can teach a computer to diagnose your personality via analyzing you and just observing you.
Right.
So what if you die in real life while your headset's on and your avatar is still alive and the computer knows that and sets you to default mode. So now you're still living forever.
What? Bro,
Holy shit, right?
I feel
Does
like
it blow your mind, bro?
I feel like I'm in Inception right now. Like I just fucking mind blown.
Like I feel like it's true, like it could happen.
Damn.
Like why couldn't that happen?
I'm trying to process that all right now. Like that's deep. Shit,
Wild, right?
dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's some crazy shit. I think about that stuff all the time. Like it's possible. We're getting there. We're getting to a place where, I mean, how do we know that the government already doesn't have personality questionnaires filled out on us or diagnosis of us already so far based
Right.
off of what we click on Facebook
Right. Or what
and
if
certain
we
decisions we
are
made?
already living in that world?
Yeah. What if it's already pre-gamed? What if all this stuff has been already pre-organized and now when we jump on VR, it's just going to be so much easier to manipulate?
Right?
You're going to be on VR and you're going to have advertisements just flashing in your face and you're not even going to have an option of not looking at it. You're going to be playing the newest Call of Duty with your homies with like your AK-47 and you're going to try to shoot a Nazi and all of a sudden it's going to be like, do you want this Viagra? It's a penis pill. It'll make your dick bigger. And you're just trying to kill a fucking Nazi. That's the world we're going to live in.
All right. Jeez. I'm still mind
Call of
blown
Duty brought to you by
of what you just
Viagra.
said though. Like I'm still mind blown about that. I'm still trying to process that all. Like, can you imagine? Shit, that's
So
nuts.
for me, I'd be like, all right, well, how do I get my hands on the advertising part of that? Because I don't want to, they say if you can't beat them, join them. I want to join them. Don't let me be the victim here. Let me go ahead and like, I never want to be the pure consumer. I also want to be a producer. I want to be able to produce something for someone to consume. That way
hmm
I'm not totally just giving one direction.
hmm
That's the way I see it. Like I want to play both sides of the ball.
Oh, I know. I know. I do. I just I'm so lost right now. Like my mind is just so blown. I can't get over that.
Yeah, I saw your face. I was like, oh, I think I went too far. Shit.
No, you didn't go too far. I just, whoo, that was a lot to take in. Damn.
Yeah. So you're dead, but your body and your mind still live on.
Wait, right? Damn, dude. That's intense.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
think
scary,
we
though.
should jump off that topic.
Like, imagine if that can actually happen. Like, the whole VR experience, though. That's scary. And it's, like you said, I don't think we're far from that, so.
We're getting there, man. We're getting.
But anyway.
So anyway, let's move on to the third topic.
Third topic.
This is the one you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, because I find it very interesting. And,
Go ahead.
So we're going to be talking about the cannabis plant, also known as the marijuana leaf, weed, whatever it is, the CBD, the THC. So, because I've listened to some podcasts recently, and they were talking about this, and you know, back then when we were younger, obviously it was always, don't do drugs. That also included marijuana and weed. Don't get me wrong. I'll be straight up forward honest with you. I don't smoke weed. I don't do any of that. But I find it very interesting, the CBD side of it. And that's because, for those of you that don't know, there's basically two major compounds in the marijuana leaf, in the cannabis leaf. And that's THC and that's CBD. THC is what gets you the high from the plant. That's what gives you those side effects. That's what gets you high. The CBD is an all natural compound from the plant that after researchers have done studies on it, that our bodies actually have a specific nervous nerve system in our brain that reacts to CBD. And there's been so many stories about it, about whether it be athletes, retired athletes using it to help them sleep, to help with whether it be concussions, symptoms, anxiety, like all this stuff that CBD helps with, pain, everything. And it's basically all hemp-based CBD. And I'm going to be straight up honest forward with you guys. So I just recently bought a CBD balm. And the balm is for, I'm going to put on my joints and my muscles because I'm sore. I lift things up and put them down for a living, as you guys know. And some of those lifting up is very heavy, and putting down can be very heavy as well. And my body takes a toll out there on the job. So I have bought the CBD product, and I want to try it, and I'm very interested because there's a lot of positive feedback about this. And like I said, I know, back then all we heard about was marijuana is bad, don't do drugs, this, that, and the third. But really, it's just recent when they started doing all these studies on it, and there's positives coming out of this stuff. And, the THC side helps with certain things too, with certain people's symptoms that they have, of whether it be anxiety and stuff like that. But all that stuff helps with that as well, and it's proven. And I find it very interesting because obviously we know a lot of states now have legalized marijuana, and it's a matter of time before I think all 50 of it does. All 50 states do it. What's your take on that? If you have any, this was I know this was my topic, but
My take on that is basically it's just CBD. It's not THC. I think when you do that, you bring in another conversation into the equation. I do think that people are oversensitive in the topic sometimes. Again,
yes.
we were brought up that we should not be doing marijuana. We should not be doing anything. But the reality is, as we evolve, and human beings will evolve, because you have the younger generations coming up, and they know how to compartmentalize certain things that our older generation not. CBD oil will be probably more popular and more in every store soon.
Yeah,
and I don't think you can stop it really, and I don't think they should. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, and it helped with people's whether they have Parkinson's too. I hear that stuff's also good for, and it's supposed to help relieve Parkinson's and all this stuff. And I mean, it's a natural plant. Like that's the thing about it. It's an all natural plant. Like,
The whole plant is natural.
yeah, exactly. The whole plant is natural. Like, it's not something that's like,
The whole plant.
and like it was like a
You
year
know what I'm
ago.
saying?
Oh
Like
no,
it's the whole
yeah, it's
plant.
the whole fucking thing. And like a year ago, I completely had a different outlook on this whole thing. I had a completely different outlook on this whole thing. But a certain podcast I listened to, they had some experts on there talking about it, and I'm not gonna lie, it swayed me. It swayed me to the other side of it and to open mind it and accept it for what it is. And that's now look, I'm buying myself a CBD balm and I'm gonna put it on my joints and muscles, and hopefully I'll see some relief there. And you know what? I'll probably be hooked
Put it
after that.
everywhere, bro.
Huh? Put it
Put it everywhere.
Yeah, I will. Put it everywhere.
CBD. So I smoked weed multiple times. I mean, this is we're being real and authentic, right? We're being real on the
That's
podcast. I
us.
smoked weed. My wife has smoked weed. We tried it legally in Seattle, where you should try it, or Colorado, where it's legal. We're not trying to break the law. So I tried it, and my theory was that I don't have an addictive personality whatsoever, so I don't see how I would be addicted to it or even crave it. But I will say that just like any good medication, um, man, when I smoked it and I went to bed, I had some of the best sleep I've ever had in my life,
Sure, exactly, and
and I absolutely loved it.
right, and that's another reason why certain people take it. For people that have, God, I'm having a brain fart. What is it called when you can't sleep?
Sleep apnea, insomnia,
Insomnia. Yes, people that suffer from insomnia. Uh, yeah, I've heard about that too. When it comes to
absolutely. And I mean, you get
marijuana.
high off of it, and of course, that's depending on if you have an upper or downer. If you have an upper, I really like the focus it gives you. Again, don't be. I'm not a person that's addicted to it, so I would say if you have an addictive personality, probably not great to try
Mm-hmm.
or do. But I don't, so I'm allowed to use it once in a while legally, and I enjoy the benefits of it. It's almost recreational in a way, and you get to focus. And then if you want to chill, you can chill. It just depends on what you like. I think it's no different than alcohol. I mean, if you mix vodka and Red Bull, you have an upper, a very weird upper.
Right.
If you drink beer, you're gonna have eventually a downer if you have enough, and that's the same thing. And alcohol is legal, and I've heard this argument over and over and over again. And I want to, beat a dead horse here, but I mean, alcohol is very illegal now, and it has killed way more people, has damaged way more livers than marijuana ever has. And I don't understand. Minus the smell of weed, I don't see what the drawback is. Weed can smell like shit, and because we have a hard time regulating it, we can get some pretty funky strands of it, which is not good because you don't know what the hell you're smoking, and that's not good either. So
Right, and it's like I feel like I would personally have an issue for the people that use it just to get high, just to get that buzz, just to get that.
absolutely.
Like that's where like it's if you use it for medical reasons, great, great. Keep it up. If it's helping you, more power to you for doing that. But it's those other people that are like, "Hey man, you want to get high after school? You want to get high after class?" You know what I mean? Like, dude, like shut up. You sound like a fucking moron. You're not cool. You know what I mean? And just like
Well, my mindset about that whole thing is like, why do you need weed to function? Like, just like alcohol, why would you be drinking all day? Why would you smoking all day? Why do you need to do coke all day? Like, what is it about you that's wrong that you feel like you need these things as a dependence to
right.
function? There's something wrong with you. Like, you need help.
That's a
If
good.
that's the case, maybe you're not an addict, but there's something personally wrong with you
That's
that
a
you need
good
to go ahead and sit
question.
down and talk about because you don't need that shit.
That's a good question.
Do I need coffee in the morning? Probably not, but I like it, and it's a better health benefit than it is a health deficit. Like, and I think that it's legal. I'm pretty sure coffee is legal. I have a cup of black coffee every morning, and I've been doing that for years now. And I've read enough on black coffee to realize that coffee is not detrimental to your health, and it's completely legal. So I mean, there I feel like, yeah, okay. I mean, I've gone weeks without coffee, and I'm fine. Same thing. I'm fine. I just really enjoy it. Not dependent on it. I'm still gonna be me without it,
Yeah, I
and I
mean,
think that's the thing.
that's like me with energy drinks. Terrible. I know they're so bad for you, but dude.
What's your
like,
energy drink choice? What do you love?
What?
What's your energy drink choice?
Monsters.
Oh shit! Which one?
I know. I like the fruity ones, like the Loco Moco or Moco Loco, or and then
The more
there's
sugar, the
like,
better.
yeah, dude. Like, it's so
Oh
bad.
Jesus!
And like the gas station I go to before work, they got like 3 for like $5, so I can't beat it. It's like buy 3.
So like when you go pee, do you pee like a thick ass stream? Like does it come out like thick? Is it like Mountain Dew dark yellow and it's like syrup coming out your dick or what? Like you know what I'm talking about? You ever had
I
too much
know
soda
exactly what
or
you're
something
talking
that just comes
about.
out thick?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. No, not really. I mean, it may have a funky smell, but you know. But I mean, nah. But I mean, like, I don't drink them all though. I usually save one. There's one in my fridge actually right now as we speak.
Don't
But
do it.
like, I feel like I need it for work though sometimes, and I know it's bad and I shouldn't have them. But like for work, like I drink one and I'm buzzing. I'm just like bouncing off
Hammering 'em
houses,
out.
delivering packages, like you know what I mean, and just like a monster out there. See what dad joke.
This thing called life is sponsored by Monster. Tired? Grab a Monster. Get fucking woke.
Nah. So, anyways, going back to the topic. You know, so the brand that I use is called UrbalActiv, and that's the brand that I bought. They make everything from oils that you put in your water, in your coffee to give you a great start to the morning, to the balms that you can rub on your body wherever you need it. And they even make dog treats to help dogs that suffer from, separation anxiety and car rides and plane rides and all this stuff. And so, I'm excited to try it, and I cannot wait to report back on the podcast and let you know how it goes.
That sounds good. I can't wait.
So, but
You guys got to
anyways,
realize that everything is a substance out there. Everything, whether you're taking vitamin C, caffeine,
right?
taurine, CBD, ABC, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter what you're taking. At the end of the day, a substance is a substance. No one should be addicted to one particular substance.
That's
Not
right.
a good idea.
That's right. So, but anyways, is there anything else that we got today?
I don't know. I think this was a really great podcast. I really enjoyed all of it. The VR shit was pretty crazy.
Yeah, dude.
In the next couple episodes, I would like to work on getting a guest.
Totally.
Somebody we can bring on to talk about as a professional to really give us some serious knowledge, to drop some knowledge bombs on us.
Yeah, totally. I'm totally down for that.
I'm gonna get a mumble rapper on here for you.
No, please don't, God, no. Please don't.
I wonder if the interview is gonna be something like this, like, so rapper, what do you think about today's music? I'm sorry, what did you say? Come again?
Oh God. Anyways, I like certain kind of rap. I can't like that. I don't know. I can't get into that rap.
It's okay, my man.
But
It's all right.
no, but going back to bands though, you know what's a good one? Judah and the Lion. You ever listen to those guys?
No, but now I will.
Oh my God, you gotta listen to this song "Take It All Back."
We should get a band. Let's interview a band.
Let's interview a band.
I know you
Sure.
had mentioned Mike Herrera. Like he's pretty well known.
Yeah.
I think he would definitely be a great interview because I've heard him
Dude.
speak, and if you can get him talking, he has awesome insight on
Totally.
music and touring and the road and that lifestyle that I
Like-
find very compelling and interesting.
Dude, totally. And like the most like I don't know. Like I don't know if like artists are like those type of artists are as hard to get as like athletes. Professionals. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes
athletes
sense.
are hard, especially if they're like first stringers.
Yeah, yeah, right. First
Maybe we can get a
rounders.
bench guy. Let's find a bench guy.
The water boy.
Let's call up like guys who went over to Europe and they had a stint in the pros.
No, like there is this there's this one we're just going off road here now. There was this one artist, excuse me. There was this one retired athlete who won 2 Stanley Cups. His name was Dustin Penner. He played for the Los Angeles Kings, and we got him on our podcast, the other podcast me and my buddies used to do. Shout out to Around the Boards. No longer, RIP. Anyways, and we got him on the podcast, and dude, like we had him on for about 40 minutes, and like 30 minutes of it was him talking about his life. Had nothing to do with hockey. Talking about how he went over to like what is that? What is that island? Fuck.
Puerto Rico.
No, it is some crazy thing. It's a completely like off the map type island. There's like no cell service. There's no Easter Island. That's what it was. And about how he went to Easter Island, about how he was just zen with himself like the whole time he was there, and like all his like real crazy stuff. And dude is a crazy conspiracy theorist too. He was whew, man. Like
And that's why we're going to do special guests, because you never know what you're going to get.
exactly. So, anyways, join us guys next week for another episode. We're gonna wrap this up. Follow Mike on Instagram at m.r.k the barber.
M.R.K. The barber. It's my initials.
I almost had it. I'm getting good at this.
Yeah,
Third episode in.
It's just my initials, bro.
Okay, that's it. The barber. Also follow us. Follow the podcast on Twitter at _TTCL pod. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter at D_Warhowski, WIRHOWSKI. Anything else?
I think that is it, bro.
Okay. All right. So we'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to also subscribe to us on all your podcast apps. We'll catch you guys next week.
Peace.